Welcome, dear listeners. In tonight's story, we journey to a forgotten village nestled beside the whispering Hollowdale Wood. Here stands a lonely, weathered stone in the churchyard, known only as the Witch's Grave, a place where childhood dares turn into chilling legend and sorrow can curdle into something far more sinister. Years ago, this village knew a nanny named Elara, whose gentle hands and kind heart were devoted to the Duchess Isolde's 3 young children. Days were filled with laughter then, the grand manor echoing with youthful joy, and Elara was a beloved fixture in their innocent world, a beacon of warmth and care. But a shadow fell upon the house. A creeping sickness, swift and merciless, took hold of the first child, then the second, then the third. The Duchess's laughter turned to choked sobs, her grand home now a silent testament to a mother's profound and encroaching despair, as doctors stood helpless before the unseen malady. All 3 children succumbed, leaving behind a silence more terrible than any storm. The Duchess Isolde, her mind fractured by grief, sought a reason, a target for her immense pain. Her gaze, once fond, turned to Elara, and in her sorrow-stricken eyes, kindness twisted into suspicion, then into a terrible burning accusation. "Witch!" the Duchess shrieked, the word echoing through the village like a death knell. Fear, ever a fertile ground for hysteria, took root. Whispers turned to shouts, and soon the terrified Elara was dragged from the manor, the villagers' faces a mixture of righteous fury and superstitious dread. Their hearts hardened against her pleas. No trial was needed, no evidence sought beyond a grieving mother's word and a village's fear. Elara was condemned. Bound to a crudely fashioned stake in the village square, she watched as kindling was piled at her feet, her tear-filled eyes scanning the crowd for a sliver of mercy, finding only condemnation. A torch was cast. Flames licked at the dry wood, smoke clawing at Elara's throat. Her screams were lost in the crackle of fire and the murmurs of the crowd. The heat intensified, the orange glow reflecting in the villagers' hardened eyes, sealing Elara's fate in a pyre of fear and superstition. Then a sound like thunder. A great ancient oak at the edge of the square, weakened by rot, groaned and crashed down. It fell towards the pyre, scattering the crowd. The stake snapped, and in the ensuing chaos of smoke and panic, Elara, though horribly burned, vanished into the encroaching darkness of Hollowdale Wood. They found only scorched rags. Believing her consumed by the flames or perished in the woods, the search was brief. But Elara lived, a recluse in the deep forest, her burns a constant agonizing reminder. In the village, a stone was erected in the churchyard, the Witch's Grave, a grim warning. Years turned into decades. The legend of the Witch's Grave grew, whispered by children. Run 5 times around her marker, and her curse would fall upon you, sealing your doom within a year. One autumn afternoon, a group of village children, led by young Thomas, dared each other to test the tale. Thomas, boldest of the lot, took the first lap. As he completed the circle, a chilling groan echoed from nearby. The earth beside an ancient forgotten tombstone sighed, and then, with a soft thud, a portion of the grave collapsed inward, revealing a dark, empty cavity. The children gasped. Hesitantly, they began the second circuit. Midway, a flash of black. A feral cat, eyes like burning coals, leapt from behind a weathered angel statue, hissing. It raked its claws across the arm of the nearest child, drawing a thin line of red before vanishing as quickly as it appeared. The third run was filled with dread. As they passed the Witch's Grave, the ground at its base seemed to writhe. From cracks in the earth, not one, but a dozen dark, slithering forms emerged. Snakes, their scales glistening, tongues flicking, causing the children to scream and stumble back. Trembling, they forced themselves through the fourth lap. A sharp crack echoed from above. A large dead branch from an overhanging yew tree splintered and fell, crashing to the ground mere inches from where they had just run, showering them with decaying leaves and a sense of narrowly avoided doom. The fifth and final circle. As Thomas stumbled past the grave, the air grew cold. For a fleeting, heart-stopping moment, a spectral image shimmered above the stone. A woman, wreathed in silent, ethereal flames, her face contorted in agony. Then it was gone. The curse, they knew, was set. Within days, a chilling pattern emerged. Children in the village, starting with those who had played at the grave, fell ill with a mysterious ailment, mirroring the fate of the Duchess's own. Fear, cold and sharp, gripped the hearts of the villagers. The witch's curse, they whispered, had been awakened. Panic, fueled by old hatreds and fresh terror, erupted. The tales of the children's dare, coupled with the spreading sickness, pointed to one source, the witch of Hollowdale Wood. In their panic, the villagers sought refuge and answers where fear often turns, the church. Candles flickered as the ancient chapel filled with frightened faces and furious demands. The old vicar, pale and shaken, raised trembling hands to silence the crowd. "I found something," he said, voice hoarse. "A spell book, uncovered when the earth cracked near the witch's grave. It speaks of witches past, of curses born from sorrow, and how they return." He held up the charred, leather-bound tome, pages inked with runes and rituals. "To end it," he whispered, "the book says, the burning must be completed. Only then can the spirit be unmade." Gasps rippled through the crowd, not just fear now, but a terrible, tempting certainty. The failed execution had left the curse unfinished. And so, fire must again answer fire. The villagers, their faces grim, gathered torches and crude weapons, determined to end the curse, to find Elara and silence her forever. They plunged into the dark, whispering woods, their torches cutting swathes through the oppressive gloom. Deeper and deeper they went, until they found it, a crude, hidden hovel, woven from branches and mud. Smoke curled faintly from a hole in its roof, the witch's lair. A figure emerged, silhouetted against the faint light from within. Elara, no longer the gentle nanny, but a creature menaced by pain and solitude. Her burned face, illuminated by their advancing torches, was a horrifying mask. She clutched a gnarled staff, her one good eye wide with terror and perhaps something more. Seeing her disfigurement, the villagers recoiled, then their fear solidified into certainty. This was the monster of their nightmares, the source of their woes. "Burn the witch!" someone cried, the shout taken up by the mob as they advanced, torches held high, intent on finishing what they started years ago. Torches lit, hearts set on vengeance, the villagers surrounded Elara's lair. The spellbook's warning echoed in their minds. The burning must be completed. Elara stepped from the hovel's shadow, clutching her gnarled staff, defiant. "You made me this," she rasped. Her one good eye shimmered, not with fear, but fury. With a guttural incantation, she thrust her staff toward the mob. A burst of searing flame roared from her palm, scattering them like leaves. Sparks clung to clothing. One man screamed, slapping at embers crawling up his sleeve. Another was flung back by an invisible force, crashing into a tree with a sickening crack. The forest became a battlefield. Vines writhed from the earth, snaring feet. A whirlwind of cinders danced above the lair as Elara rose into the air, suspended in a halo of fire, her burned form now wreathed in unnatural energy. But they came, still, one torch, then another. Fire met fire. The villagers hurled their torches. Her screams split the air, furious, heart-wrenching, not only of pain, but of betrayal reborn. The flames consumed her mid-air, a silhouette blazing against the moonlight. At last, silence. Ash rained softly through the trees. From the smoldering ruin of the lair, a shape emerged, silent, spectral. A ghostly black cat, its eyes glowing with ember light. It floated, unhurried, through the trees, back toward the village, past the broken gravestones, through the cold mist. It reached the witch's grave, now cracked and scorched from the earth's unrest. There, it curled atop the stone, a final vigil. Then, with a piercing, soul-rattling shriek, the cat disintegrated into a swirl of green mist, vanishing into the night. Only the grave remained, cold, silent, watching. Thank you for watching our latest tale from Beyond the Veil. If you have enjoyed our spooky story, feel free to drop a comment, like the video, and subscribe to the channel if you dare. And if you want to hear our next tale of terror from the pages of this old volume, click the story on the screen now. Until next time.